Good morning. It's a beautiful, sunny, slightly foggy morning. Been here before, September 11th, 22 years ago. Very, very similar to today. I was a sophomore in high school. Had first period computer class before going to a FFA event at the Career Center a county over. I remember somebody saying, hey, search for this on the internet, something about an airplane in New York. It was pre-Google, so we searched for it. Yahoo saw something, but it was so early in the events that nobody had any idea what was going on. But I do remember having to call home to my parents to make sure it was still okay that we go to the FFA event. We went to that, didn't pay any attention to what was happening because we were busy. By the time we got back to the school in the afternoon, I started to realize what was going on, and were able to watch the TV for most of the rest of the day in classes. But the world changed that day, and it'll never be the same. Don't ever forget. Special shout out to all of you watching today that are in our military, were, or ex, or veterans, or any portion of the armed services to the United States. Thank you for your service. To the police officers, to the firefighters, volunteer or otherwise, thank you for what you guys do for our country, especially today. All right, so today we're mostly treating wheat, I think. I actually came out Saturday and treated some, so we got what we need out of that wagon for now, although we are going to treat the rest of the wheat in that wagon. But we've got some boxes here, I think. Yeah. And there's a bunch in that orange wagon over there already. So we're gonna put another 1 or 2 boxes in that wagon, dump the rest in the front of this wagon, and then those will be done with for now. So I do have 2 customers that I've talked to that are supposed to bring me wagons of wheat today, and so the plan is to treat that. I think it'll fit. Not real sure here. It's all right. We got plenty of room in that green wagon over there. We got 2 more full boxes, but it would be nice to be even so I know how much is in each wagon, because I know how much is in each box. Made it. A little close, but we made it. All right. This is a whole lot easier to move stuff around with a forklift than a pickup truck, even than a tractor. We are done with these, but I just need them out of the way. They're not going to leave just yet, so we're backing them over here against the wall. Something like that. The green one has a tarp, the orange one does not, so we can't set it outside or leave it. And well, I don't have too many birds in here, but there are in other barns, so it's probably best that it stays in here. All right, well, I got my stuff cleaned up, went down to the farm and was working on some other seed business stuff, placing some orders and such, and a wagon of wheat showed up. So we're gonna pull that in here and get it treated. Well, it's going well. All looks good. It's treating nice. Everything's working just fine. So another guy that's bringing me a wagon just called. He's on his way, so this is what we're doing for a while, it looks like. Just finished with the second wagon load here, so we're dumping it back in. It's past lunchtime, so I'm going to go in the house and get some food. We'll figure out what else is going on this afternoon here. All right, the wheat treating is done. So, we're getting ready for harvest here, right? It's coming quick. One of the things we need to do is a little attention to our dryer here. And Phil was doing some cleaning out up here. We're gonna look and see if that needs more done or what. But a little fire last year, and we got some cleaning up to do from that. Yeah, that needs cleaned out. So this is the burner, the gas valve kind of thing there, and the raccoons love to play in here, so we got to get that cleaned out. But we had a fire clear up in there. I need to climb up there and look and see what stuff looks like. Right here is where our fire was last year. You can see it got hot. I was expecting that to be totally rusted on the inside. Doesn't appear to be. So maybe it's not so bad. But we were thinking we needed to try and reach in there and wire brush that and clean it up. Looking at it now, I'm thinking, meh, it looks okay to me. We just need to make sure there's no bird nests or dead raccoons or anything anywhere that's going to keep stuff from sliding. Anyway, this is the inside of our dryer. It's kind of cool to see. You can see how there's two defined columns, towers basically. The fans are underneath. They blow air up. That burner runs the length of it. The air gets hot, blows the hot air up to here. It goes into these vents, and then the corn would be like down in there, and it blows the air through it. And then you can see there's another vent down there. Would be this row of rivets that's open to the outside, and the air exhausts through that, and then it just kind of plinkos its way down. Is that a good term, plinko? Does everybody understand that one? I mean, it's a classic here in America, but yeah, it just keeps shuffling its way back and forth down until it gets to the bottom, to the drag conveyors, and comes out. And the lower it gets, the drier it gets. Forces the moisture out of it. So that's how it works. Yeah, like I said, we had a fire last year that we were a little concerned about, trying to figure out how to make sure that we don't have any issues this year. Just from looking at it, I don't know that we really would have any issues anyway. There's one little spot over there that's a little black and charry that we should try and maybe wire brush it or something, or just spray paint some slip plate graphite on there. I think that would do as much as anything. That one vent triangle thing there is the one that got the hottest. That I fully expected it to be totally rusted. It's not. But I wonder how hard it would be to drill the rivets out and get it out and a new one in. Probably not super easy. So the fans all sit underneath here. They all have a little door on the bottom that drops down to let all the crap that falls into them out. We should get the air compressor air gun out here and just blow all these motors off and stuff so they stay nice and cool and everything works like it's supposed to. And pre-season maintenance. Phil got the new motor installed. That's the old motor, just got gone through, whatever, new bearings and stuff for the new unload on this leg. So that's all in and sealed up to the end of our pit there. You got the leg pit and boot all cleaned up really nice. That works good. So this bin is all done and ready to go as far as I know. Yeah, the new floor in it. One thing that was really cool, I thought this was neat. So on this power sweep here, they've got this tube running along the back, this square tube right here. And it runs all the way in to the center here. And then it transitions into this conduit and comes out right here, and it's open. And the idea is that you can stick a cable in there through this hole in the outside of the bin that we've got to put like a rubber cap on or something, but you line it up directly with this so that if the center sump ever was to plug, we could run a cable in, go through this, and it would guide it right to the center, and then you put like a drill on the end of it, spin it around, and it would flap around and break up whatever chunk or is plugging the sump up. So that's kind of a cool thing. Brock's having fun trying to clean out these. Gotta move these grates out of the way, and it's a little tight. There you go. It's a challenge in here. We got those grates, the one slid down on top of the middle one so we can get into these down here. Brock's coming. Hey Brock. Larson's have two of these dryers, so they're bigger than ours. Has anybody ever seen them do this? I haven't seen them. I haven't either, but I don't watch all their videos, so I don't know. Phil's up there somewhere on top, cleaning out the inside. We're getting it. Where are you going? You going up there?
I want to.
Let's go. Be careful. Hold on to those ladders. It's not a door. Hold on to this railing. Just be careful and focus on what you're doing. Well, look how high you are. Be very careful. That step right there is just a little off. They'll catch you if you're not paying attention. You made it. What do you think up here?
I think we've been up to that.
You think you've been up on that one before?
I have to put the lights on.
Yep, the Christmas lights go up there, don't they?
A GPS.
Phil's down in those holes, cleaning stuff out. Yep, the dealer has an RTK base station right here. If you cover it up, then they won't have cell phone or GPS service.
Look at how high I look.
I know. Look, you can see everything.
So cool.
You can see the field we tiled back there. The little bit that we put in is over there.
The fields look so good from up.
They look so good from up here. Starting to turn yellow. They're maturing.
That's good.
Slowly dying off.
That's good. Actually.
Corn plot. You can see the varietal differences across there.
Daddy, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, I suppose. Something's going on over there. There's a strip. That is
Hey, what's that big post?
Population starter trial.
Daddy,
something.
That tall post.
Down there?
No, not down there. Over way at in that field.
At the end of that field?
Yeah.
That great post between our house and the seed warehouse?
No, it's that next field right by that woods that Trump was trying to figure out the end of that woods.
Oh, way over there?
Yeah.
That's an electric pole on the side road over there. He's looking way over there.
There's a car.
Our early beans here at Waldron are the ones across the road here. Turning yellow. We're a couple weeks out yet, I would assume.
Daddy.
That kind of crap. Light, fluffy stuff. It easily burns. Oh, Brock! Sorry, bud. The last thing we need to do is spill everything you just cleaned up, right? My bad. Anyway. What? You see how it works? Pull that down and it locks. You're right. That's how it works. Yep. This is where we need one of those 185 CFM air compressors. Park it right there and just clean it. Be done. Okay, I decided to go drive around. We're going to do a little crop scouting this afternoon here. This is wheat stubble field. Look at our clover. Oh, it's beautiful. Just gorgeous. This is the clover seed that we frost seeded back in March, end of March, 1st of April. Use that little spinner on the gator and come out here and seed it, and it looks so good. Brock mowed this 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was mowed down short. You can see we've got this white stuff. That, I believe, is powdery mildew. It's a disease that's in there. Obviously, we're not going to spray fungicide or do anything with it because it doesn't really matter at this point. But yeah, this looks really, really good. There are some weeds, but the clover's kind of thick enough. It's keeping them out of it for the most part. You can still see where the windrows were from the combine, like right here. That's because the chaff and the volunteer wheat kind of chokes the clover out, so it doesn't grow quite as well there. But that clover is gonna, the root system is kind of working through the soil, adding a ton of organic matter with all the stuff, the surface vegetation we're going to work in to the ground. It's making the ground much more mellow. It's a legume, so it's fixing some nitrogen. It's keeping the microbial life in the soil active and growing and doing lots of good things for us. Now the plan is to get the sprayer back up here from Berkey. Dad went down and sprayed over the weekend, and then to come and actually spray this field in the next few days, sometime this week, and start the process of killing this clover off, killing all the weeds, the volunteer wheat, everything else that's out here, and then getting the ripper out here and doing our fall tillage, getting this field ready to be planted to corn next year. And I'm sure somebody's wondering why we wouldn't just leave this over winter and plant into it in the spring or deal with it in the spring. There are some people that do that. I am not one of them. We have tried this in the past. My experience is that the clover crop is very hard to manage in the spring. It is it'll suck all the moisture out of the ground, and you'll end up with very, very dry conditions if we have a spring like we did this year, or like we did the last time that we tried this. And then you have really poor germination, uneven emergence, and it makes the corn crop not very good. And we just don't see the benefits out of leaving it grow over winter. I would love to have a crop over winter and to keep the microbials and the microbes in the soil growing and active, but we need our soil to warm up fast in the spring. We need to get rid of the ground cover and let the sun hit the soil. Helps it dry out faster, helps it warm up so that we can get our crop planted. So that's the way we handle it. That's how it's worked really well for us, and how we're probably going to continue to do things. Now we're actually here to look at this corn that's in the field next to our wheat stubble over there. And I'm going to walk out here ways because I have a variety split that I want to go and find. I think this is it. There's quite a height difference, and the tassel color is the big thing. This one has a very white tassel that has stood out all year. This one has a very red tassel that has stood out the opposite way all year, and there's quite a contrast between them looking down this row. So on my now right side, we have a 109 day, and on my left we have a 113 day. So there's quite a maturity difference here, but I just wanted to take a second to look at them and see what the differences are. There is a lot of lesions on these leaves. I'm not sure if that is gray leaf spot. It kind of looks like it, but I'm not 100% sure. But there is a bunch on all of this corn I've seen walking through here. Mostly the lower leaves, or it's worse on the lower leaves, but I do not like seeing that. All right, well, this here is somewhat interesting. So I peeled back some ears, kind of left them attached to the stalks here so that we could compare these two hybrids and just the different types of ears. And I knew this was going to be the case here, but it's extreme. So this one over here is our 109 day. I turned around, sorry. And you can see we've got a ton of ear tip back on these. And like this ear here, those kernels pollinated and then aborted. Basically from there down, where they kind of started to develop and then did not. These ones out here never really pollinated. Same thing on most of these. This one wasn't so bad, but all of them have significant tip back. Now, this hybrid has extremely good ear girth. They're very large around, diameter-wise. There's a lot of rows around. I assume these are all at least 16, probably mostly 18s, maybe even 20 around, especially that one there. Now, the tip back doesn't really bother me, assuming that the rest of the ear is good. Like, this one, this is a really good ear. So what? If you got 1.5 inches of tip back here, it doesn't really matter. This one had hardly any tip back. That's a really nice ear too. This one, however, the rest of the ear is not so great. Like, we needed the rest of those kernels to make that one do well. Doesn't look pretty. Doesn't mean it's going to yield poorly, but we will see. Another thing, I get the comment sometimes about, how many, why corn only has one ear, right? Why doesn't it have multiple ears? Or, and we know from the dissection video that I did way back in June that corn actually puts on somewhere between 8 and 10 ears. They're all up and down the stalk. The top one is the only one that ever really develops, though. Now, occasionally you'll see some of these where they do get a second ear, right? So we've got the main ear and then the second, but it withers up and dries out and doesn't actually produce anything. And like this one here, you can see I peeled it back, and it had a nice ear there, a really nice one, but none of the kernels actually started to develop or do anything. So not going to get anything off of that. Basically, the corn plant is doing everything it can to fill out its primary ear and trying to make that one as good and big as possible. It's very rare to get second ears, occasionally on the edge of the field where you're getting extra sunlight and water and nutrients and stuff, and you don't have the competition and stuff. But out here in the middle of the field, it's very rare. Now, we'll move over here to the other side, and we have a very different type of ear. Like, this one pollinated and filled out right to the end. It's not as big in diameter. It's a little bit smaller around, probably still 16s, maybe some 14s around. Nice rows on for the most part, but pretty good pollination. A little bit of tip back on this one, but I guess you could say there's some on that one. But 3 of the 5 there's kernels on the end of the ear. Like, you can't really get any better than that. They're long ears. Rumor has it this hybrid has excellent test weight, so we will see when it comes to fall, or when it comes to harvest. I don't know which one is better. Which one is better? If all the ears look like this one, I would say this one is better, but they don't all look like that. I don't know. We're going to find out. And you'll see the same thing here. We've got some second ears that just never developed. There's cross sections of the ears. 113 day to the left, 109 to the right. More defined milk line on the 113 than the 109. That is sort of interesting. We'll see. I hear it dries down well for 113 day, but that's really pushing the maturity here. So if this is any indication, yeah, it kind of looks like it. It won't be too bad. Now, sort of looks like a milk line right at the tip of my thumbnail there. That's pretty soft. That corn's just denting. The 113 is farther along, which is quite interesting because they were planted the same day. So it matures faster. Must have terrible dry down. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's going to be drier and better. We'll find out. Wanted to come look at this bean field. They don't look good. There's a lot of disease out here. A lot. This one's got a filter strip that goes all the way around. We can go to the backside to some river bottom ground back there I want to go and look at. But we'll maybe stop here on the way out. Oh, there's a lot of dead beans out there. Ah, didn't see it. It's not very good. It's a big buck. Does not look good out here. Lots of dead beans all over this field. They are starting to turn. I mean, it is late season, so maybe, maybe there's just nothing there. Little itty bitty beans. It's not great. It's not great. We were 2 to 3 weeks too early, premature death, and there's a lot of them. It's going to really hurt. I'm assuming white mold. Yeah, that's white mold. Dang. It is really bad. This is probably the worst white mold year I've seen in a long time. We had it 2 years ago in some of these same fields. I know that I felt like it came later this year than normal. Look at this plant here. It's like part of it died and part of it didn't. We got one dead branch, and the rest of the plant still, it's dying. It's dead now, but green long enough to maybe fill the pods. They're thick. Ugh, super frustrating. Anyway, we had it bad 2 years ago in some of these fields, or sort of, but it came later this year, but it seems to have come on stronger and worse in just bigger areas. Lots of white mold, just widespread. Usually it's smaller pockets. It's not going to be good. I would expect to lose 20 to 30 bushel an acre in the spots where the white mold is bad. We're talking about beans that were going to be 65, 70 bushel beans being 40, 45 probably. Averaging across the whole field, the spots that have it and the spots that didn't, we probably went from 60 to 65 bushel beans down to maybe 50 to 55 average. It's really frustrating. So I've been using this heads up seed treatment that's supposed to help protect against white mold. I had been pretty convinced that it works up until about the last week or two, when things just kept going and spreading and getting so much worse than it's usually is. Last year we didn't have any white mold except for in the one field that I didn't use any heads up in it. But it wasn't a heavy pressure year. And then this year it held it off longer. I felt like the white mold came in late, but it's come in much worse than I've ever seen before. So I don't know. I don't know if it worked or not. All right, back into corn. So I am walking out through some endrows. Now I'm not going to see it. We're going to have to go back. The tar spot is moving in. Pretty heavy now. All right, so maybe pretty heavy isn't quite the right terminology, but it's definitely much easier to see. You're not finding one speck on a plant, you're finding a dozen on a leaf, on every leaf. So it's too late to matter. We're not going to do anything about it at this point. It's just interesting. Oh, right there's my flag I was looking for. I have a high yield, high management standard practice plot out here. Kind of. It's my Ag Explore products plot. So on the left is the non-applied. On the right is the applied with extra foliar feeds, Ag Explore products, and all that good stuff. So we're going to walk out here a little bit and take a look at them side by side a little bit closer. I don't know, just walking. Seems like this plant is darker than these plants are, but they're both firing pretty good, more than I like to see. 111-day corn. We were planted, I'll have to look it up, middle to end of April. Like this, it's time for it to be about mature, but I don't think we're there yet. Well, the first year I pulled back was this one. I'm like, oh dang, that's really nice looking ear of corn right there. Looks really good. Actually, all of these over here look pretty darn good. Just a little more tip back on some of them, but looks fairly promising. This side here looks fairly promising. None of it looks bad. This one wasn't the best, but that one's a little runt plant. It's okay. I don't know. I don't think we're in terrible shape. I don't know if there's a big difference between these, which there needs to be, but I'm not going to judge it based on this little side-by-side comparison here. So maybe there's some ear girth advantage to that side over this side. Who knows? Clearly defined milk line there. We're about 50%. Say we got 10 days to 2 weeks to maturity. Some heat would help yet. Get it to dry down. Stuff is promising, but we got a long ways to go. There's some heavy tar spot infestations. That's what I was seeing walking in. Yeah, it's coming. Just to make myself feel better, it's not just our beans. The neighbors have a ton of dead beans too. It's everybody's, and it sucks. Oh, there's my super high yielding 30-inch road beans that are supposed to be awesome that are full of white mold. Great. From here, they don't look so bad. The bad spot was over there. But I can see some out here. And there's one mare's tail out there. We're going to go get it. Short here. Really short. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Not as bad, but we still got dead plants. Not good. Super frustrating. Look at them potted up though. We gotta walk out here. Here's a bad spot. It's not real big. It's not quite as widespread in this field as the last one that we looked at. They had it real bad. It's bad enough. Here's our weed. Our pre-emerge herbicides did really well. Our bean chemical program worked really, really well. We had one get away from us. There's a whole stretch of row that's dead. All white mold, except for that one plant that somehow lived. Oh, it's just frustrating. Dead. You can see the mold on the stems. If I break them open, you'll see. Not real well there. It's hard to do with one hand, but you'll see the pith of the stem kind of turns brown, black. It's the sclerotia. It's the fungus or the disease taking over. Let's walk out here to where they're not dying and pull a plant. I am a little surprised to see the yellowing that we do already. These are 3.3 maturity. These are my fullest season beans. And, well, they're turning already. Now, they were early planted. These were planted, mid-April, 14th, I think. So that's good. But I'm surprised to see them turning. Look at these pods hanging out way up top here. I love seeing that. Love it. Now, let's see if we can grab a plant. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Nice. Roots, lots of root nodules. All looks really good. You can see some of the bottom leaves have died off or they're yellowing up. That's just maturity one and lack of sunlight too. But looking up that main stem, we've got lots of pods, lots of overlapping pods. Love seeing that. Got clusters. I mean, there's 4 or 5, 6 pods on that node. 3 on the next one, 3 on the next one, 3 on the next one, 2, 1, 1. I mean, just lots of pods. I like seeing them. I think these are going to be good beans. It's just how big are the spots that are dying. And how many of them are there? There's more there. There's a lot more over there. There's more over there. Super frustrating. On the white mold front, so what can we do about it, right? Here's how white mold works. It's Sclerectonia, sclerotia. I don't know the scientific names for it, but essentially it is a fungus that lives in the soil. I believe in the soil, not just on the residue in the soil, but in the soil itself. And it kind of produces these little mushrooms or the fruiting bodies that pop up out of the ground, and they poof spores up into the lower canopy underneath the leaves and stuff. And when those spores kind of get thrown up into the canopy there, they infect the soybean plants through the flowers. And that is key, because when the plants are flowering is not generally the time that we are spraying fungicides. We're trying to spray fungicides during pod fill a little bit later. And so the fungicide pass that we are making is pretty ineffective against white mold. One, the fungicide's not designed for white mold. 2, the timing is off. So could you spray fungicides that are more designed to control white mold at flowering and help control it? Yes, there are several fungicides labeled for white mold, but the problem is that application window, because beans are flowering from the end of June through the middle of August, really. And so trying to time it to protect the right flowers at the right time when there's white mold spores present can be very difficult. So that's a challenge. There are some cultural things that we can do. Number one, we can go to wider rows. Wider rows allows more airflow. It allows the canopy to dry out and to not stay moist all the time underneath with the heavy foliage. I have 30-inch rows here. We have a lot of white mold. So that's clearly not a catch-all that's going to just solve all your problems. You can lower populations, which again, same principle. You're reducing the amount of foliage out there, trying to get better airflow in order to help those beans dry out and not be so susceptible to white mold. I don't remember exactly what we dropped here, but I think we were only in the 130 range. So yeah, there's room to go down, but it's not like these were planted at 200,000 or 180,000 and we way overpopulated them. Variety selection is going to be critically important. You have to pick varieties that have a good natural resistance or tolerance to white mold. Now, I'd have to go in and look at the book and see what these are rated versus some of our other ones, but I am seeing white mold almost everywhere. Doesn't really matter the variety at this point. They all have it to an extent. Some may be worse than others, but they all have it. So that's not going to cure everything either. And then there's things like that heads-up seed treatment that claims to help. These beans had heads-up on it. They also had Saltro on it. Like, these are, got a lot of money invested into growing these beans because I know the potential of this field. This is our field that we irrigate corn in, where I was National Corn Growers runner-up in the state of Michigan last year in this field with corn. But I can't grow beans here. Why can't I grow beans? 2 years ago when we had beans up here, I planted some 3.5s. They looked really good. They got white mold in them. The field ended up averaging in the high 50s. It's not great. I'm hoping these are going to be better than high 50s, but I'm not real optimistic at this point. So outside of that, on the white mold, there's just not a lot you can do. You can attempt to spray the fungicides at the right time, make multiple passes. They're expensive. They're hit and miss as to whether or not it works or not. At one point, I thought I saw some chemical herbicide for like a fall spray that you could spray after you harvest the beans. It's supposed to kill that fungus so it's not in the soil to start the problem in 2 years when we put beans back here. I don't know if that works or not. The other thing we can try and do is not plant beans. We could just go corn on corn up here. Corn on corn in our ground typically is not the best. It's good to rotate your acres. I don't know. You accept a crappy bean crop so you can grow a tremendous corn crop? It's kind of what we've been doing. I don't know. All right, well, I'm a little discouraged after looking at our beans. Maybe looks worse than it is kind of thing. Hopefully. We'll see. You always got to lower your expectations going into harvest because it's much better to go into harvest thinking that we got a 45, 50 bushel bean crop and be surprised when they're 60 than to think, yeah, they're 60 bushel beans and be disappointed when they're 55 or 50 or worse. So, we'll just go with that approach. But yeah, thanks for watching today. We'll be around tomorrow. I've got the boys with me. Dad's going to be around. He said he might be sawmilling some boards, so maybe we'll check that out. I am pretty well caught up with weed treating for right now. I'm not done, but I don't have anybody else's stuff lined up at the moment. And I need to spend some time on the road selling seeds. So might do a little bit of that tomorrow. We'll be around the farm. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow.